I enjoyed, what I enjoy about Be Connected, this platform that you're going to learn about today. And I also became the first, because I've been so excited, lifetime member of Be Connected, because I didn't want to pay memberships for all these platforms each month, each year. I'm like, listen, I'm all in. And there's ways that you can actually invest and grow your business with this too. So it's just a win-win for everyone. So, okay, so I see you're getting some instructions there, Cindy, from Alexandria on how to do that. So we just multitasking all these different aspects. But now I wanted to, now that I've introduced myself and welcomed you all here, I wanted to introduce this incredible gentleman that's here with us today. And he had the brilliance of growing his very first cell phone company from one little store into 200 in only 1 year. And he created million-dollar companies, and this seems effortless for him. And he was the master of his own direct sales company. And as of late, he is currently creating his own orphanage in Thailand. He has this big heart and he has so much care and so much to give. And I truly admire that in him. So I would like to introduce to you the one and only. He's not just only the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, but also the co-founder, Mr. Jay Reid. Thank you so much for leading this. It's an honor. Thank you.
Doc, thanks for those warm words. And I love your country. I visited Bermuda a while back, and it was the first time I get to go scuba diving. But of course, I don't have a license or be certified. So I had a 1-hour don't drown class, and then they threw me in the ocean. But I loved it. It was the first time I was flying in. I used to live in California where the water is brown and cold. And I remember flying in over Bermuda. I'm like, oh, the water's blue. Oh, it's turquoise.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous there. Yeah. So I had a great time. I was there for just a little bit of spent. But then again, thanks, Doc. I appreciate it. Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special Saturday show. If you stick around, we're going to have a very exclusive, very in-depth training so you can get off to a really fast start because of our new 5th year anniversary bonus special that we put in to Be Connected. But before I get started, it would be rude of me not to send some prayers and a shout out, and I hope you help me there, to the people over in Myanmar, which used to be called Burma, and my adopted country of Thailand. And I got my Buddha hidden here. So they had, a very horrific earthquake, was like 7.7 on the Richter scale. And yes, my family is safe because they were outside the danger zone, but they felt it. And there's been over 1,000 people that they know of right now that have died. So we want to send our prayers and always, be mindful of our blessings, and then, send some prayers out to the people in need, because it's just a horrific thing when those things happen. And that's, on the tip of my mind. Of course, my better half, when this was going down, there was a ceremony because 30 guys in the Providence were turning into monks that day, and they're having a big celebration. And of course, my girl was out there giving out free food to the poor because that's what my family does. But let's get into Be Connected, because this is a very special time. And like I said, we're going to do a very special training, because there's no joke now. We introduce a very special bonus that can light up your life. You can go out and make yourself a little or a lot of money. I've got an extensive career in direct sales, working with a very similar bonus program, and help people make $5,000, $10,000, even $15,000, not in the first month, but in the first week. But you got to have the right information. You have to have the right tools. And of course, you got to have the right product to be able to do that. So without further ado, let me get into this to bring some people up to speed, because it's been I've been tweaking a few things here at Be Connected behind the scenes, just so we get the proper format. Because again, when we get started here, we also engage with the very big client of ours, and they're super, super excited. So again, this being our 5th anniversary, we started this going back in 2020, obviously simple math. And then, over the course of 5 years, we've created the only online platform that does it all. So no joke, this is a a robust, probably the greatest tech stack ever created in mankind to go out there and run your business. And of course, we built our membership around the world in over 100 countries. We're here to lower your costs, increase your efficiency, which really means taking the headache away from you. And of course, most importantly, help you make more money in your business, right? We also can pay you some additional revenue, but our goal is to help you not only make your life simpler in your own business, but increase your profit, right? So a lot of people are doing just what the doc had alluded to. As the time goes on and your business becomes more robust, there's always a new company coming up, it seems, that's offering a different type of technology, from a Zoom to all your social media companies, to the Salesforce, the Kajabis, the Calendlys. They just go on and on and on. The average person is using just under 7 different platforms. I call that the Frankenstein effect, right? It's a great product. You want to add it to your arsenal, but after a while, you look back and you've got, 5, 7, 9, 10 passwords to remember. And then all the integration and the updates kind of drive some people. I know I'm one of those people, drives me crazy. And we'll get into that in the training, because I like simple. I don't know about you, but I like simple. So we have a platform that you can start absolutely free, and you got 2 weeks to figure it out, because you get to use all these softwares that are in this little wheel here. And then you can decide if you need any of them, or you can always just stay free. But then if you want some, like a CRM or a business calendar, you upgrade to only what you need. You get a custom build it. So with that said, right, we start with probably the thing that I would think you would agree, and I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Just about everybody in business online needs a virtual conferencing platform to communicate. If you're online, right? Obviously, if you're doing a brick and mortar, maybe that's not important. But if you're understanding the realm of how simple it is to do business, not only in a local, national, and now international platform, you can reach out to the world. So we are a little different here at Be Connected. We looked at virtual conferencing and said, because of our CEO's experience of working with thousands of coaches and trainers, because she used to be the CEO of the Public Speakers Association, she said, hey, let's put the offers right on the screen. Let's put the links, and let's let them custom design the links, and let them decide to brand their own business. And let's make sure the links work in replay, because just like today, there'll be a lot more people watching us on a replay than they can come live, because we all have busy lives and responsibilities. And then she said, hey, let's go ahead and make sure that all the rest of the integration works around this tool. And so again, converting languages and adding additional software. So as new things pop up in the world, we want to make sure that it's all going back to the nucleus of your communication online with your customers. So again, the branding that I talked about, and we made it simple that you just click on a button. It only takes a few minutes to set up. And then seamlessly, instantly, you can change up your look and your offers, and you can have up to 15 different offers. Now, you might not need 15 offers, but there's many other things you can do. You can do collaborations. You can join forces with other speakers, other coaches. A lot of people do summits where they bring in a lot of talent. You get a lot more people, a lot more eyeballs, if you will, watching the show. And again, with this simplicity, then you can instantly make money on Be Connected, promoting your own products and services. You can have sponsors pay for, your slots. You can charge for shows. You can charge for groups, right? Now, remember, all this is without suppression, because that's, another thing with some of these other companies. They're so big and so arrogant. You might have, 5,000 people, but only 300 people are getting your posts. And then, of course, selling your courses. Now, all the money that you make in your own business on Be Connected is 100% yours to keep. And that's a very important thing, because companies like a YouTube are going to take as much as 50% of your money because you're using their platform. And that, to me, just doesn't sound right. Now, a CRM, if you don't have one, you definitely want to look into that, because the CRM is definitely going to help you convert more people. It's going to help you with the follow-up. it's, they always say money's in the follow-up. And so we decided, right, when we started this project and we had the integration of our virtual conferencing that I just covered, we want to make sure the CRM works hand in hand. Now, companies like Zoom will pride themselves of saying, oh, well, our platform has an easy conversion with, say, like Salesforce. But again, now you're still being forced into the Frankenstein effect. Instead of buying a product from one company, now you have to buy two different products. So conversions on CRMs, according to HubSpot, which is the second biggest CRM out there, they're talking about up to 300% more conversions, besides boosting your revenue almost by 30%. So with our CRM, because it was built by the same IT team, our IT team, they work hand in hand. So there's not a lot of data entry required, right? So again, like any other CRM, importing, exporting of leads, doing the follow-up, sending out the emails. But when people are signing up, when people are joining, when people are following you, when they're buying a course, they're doing all these things. Our CRM is doing the data capture for you. So there's a lot less data entry, again, making it simpler to follow up and not having to type all the time and trying to remember what was said. Now, again, when you want to launch a course, which is something you want to look into if you haven't done so, because it's super, super simple now with Be Connected. If you've got a great idea and there's all kinds of AI technology that can help you create that course, then you want to promote it. If you promote it on Be Connected, we're going to, once again, allow you to charge by the month. You can charge a one-time fee, but all the money that you make is yours to keep. And when we just move on here, because I got a lot of ground to cover before we get into the highlights, if you want to do, say, a live show, you can then be free like it is today, or you might put a sticker price on that because maybe you've got something special to teach. And of course, why buy the cow if the milk is free? So you can do a paid live show. Then we get into social media. Again, we are a social media company, but all of our customers, or at least the primary amount of our customers, are all entrepreneurs. It's a very niche community. Now, they have followers that come here, but the vast majority of the people on Be Connected is just like a LinkedIn. It's most of the business people. And so when you want to put up an offer on our social media, right, it can be seen around the world in over 100 countries. Now, remember, all of this is without suppression, which is a key thing because you can't see it, right? You might have a big following, but only so many people are seeing what you're doing. And that's not a good business strategy, right? Just think you had a big corporation with 1,000 employees and you sent out a memo and only 100 of the 1,000 employees got the memo. You can't blame the other 900 people because they didn't know, right? They didn't get the information. So we want to make sure here at Be Connected, it's as transparent as possible, and it should be effortless. Now, again, talking about premium groups, again, everything is super simple to set up here. And when you set up a group, it can be private, it can be public, and it can be a paid group if you want. Maybe you have 10,000 people that are following you, and maybe you want to make a very simple offer that they can have VIP access to privileged information, and maybe you charge them $5 a month. Right? Maybe you end up with 1,000 people that join your private group. Well, now you're making $5,000 a month before you get out of bed. Okay, the Connection Generator. This was our first software. This is invoking AI. I know it's all the buzz right now, but we started on AI technology 5 years ago. And so again, the whole world is out there running around, and they're already talking and connecting. But this way you can connect to people around the world and find the exact matches, because the AI technology is doing the hard part for you. It's weeding out all the people that would waste your time. And all you got to do in our system, besides putting up your picture and building your profile, is press a button. Press a button, and the algorithms and the AI will go to work and find you people to collaborate with, maybe find future customers. You can also search by category. You can search by name. But this is a great way. It's kind of alignable on steroids, if you will. And then, of course, the P3 system. I know this is a lot of information, but this is like going into a Golden Corral, or going to a place that's got a buffet. You're not required to eat everything that's laid out. You just pick and choose what you want. But again, it's a one-stop shop. The P3 system is something we put a patent on because I understand the direct sales world more than 99% of the people on the planet because I spent 30 years in there. And so I would have given my right kidney for this software, but it wasn't invented. The buttons on the left, because of the P3 system, actually become specific links to all of the affiliates or the distributors or representatives, whatever the company's calling you. And so when you do a big event, the leaders, right? Because it's very simple. Each of the people get to put in their own URL to promote the webinar. And so what happens is when the leaders, it could be the doctor that invented the formula, it could be the top rep, it could be an outside expert, it might be a multimillionaire they're bringing in to coach people. And somebody might say, hey, click over to the left to buy the product or service being promoted. Or if it's a direct sales company, a person might say, hey, just click on the sidebar to join the company. But then all of the transactions are going back to the specific person that might be a day old, but they get to lean on that expert with all their wisdom and knowledge and score big, right? Again, so this is a very simple system to use. If you're in networking, if you've got some kind of home-based business and you're not on Be Connected, I promise you're losing money. You're losing money left and right, because what they have to say with the current technology of Zoom or Google Meets or Microsoft Teams on a virtual conference, they have to say, get back to the person that invited you. And as soon as that's said, the conversion drops like a rock, because now the responsibility is back on the part-time person instead of the full-time person that really knows what they're doing. So again, we threw a patent on that so we couldn't be copied. Okay, and then the final thing is a business calendar. And a business calendar, just like a Calendly, but the difference is, instead of us trying to, like other calendars, which is trying to work with other platforms, everything is our platform. And I remember we did a big webinar the other day, and somebody, we went through a Q&A session in the end. They're like, hey, does it connect to Calendly? And I'm like, why would you want it to? I didn't say that out loud, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, they didn't get it, right? Because they say, well, talk to my Calendly to talk to my Zoom. I'm like, look, the whole thing is to ditch those two different providers and have one that seamlessly works around the clock working for you. So again, you tie it all together. It's a masterpiece in motion, right? And we keep growing, we keep evolving. So this is the greatest tech stack ever created out there on the planet, bar none. Everything that you're pretty much going to need besides an actual customer, but of course, a lot of this can help you do that, is at your fingertips. Now, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison, right? So look, this is a war we're involved in, right? So there's the Frankenstein effect. And I'm not picking on anyone, because each of these companies in the Frankenstein effect are incredible companies. But it's the philosophy of, do you want to keep having to manage dozens or a half a dozen companies to run your business, or you can have one place to go? So if we look at something like a Zoom, they start you off on a free offer that only lasts for 40 minutes. So some people upgrade. But as your business starts to scale, right, this is right from their websites. If you want more participants to be able to get onto your call or your show, then obviously it's more money. And that's reasonable. But then when you want to kick in the webinar mode like we're on right now, then they want $80 a month, $340 a month. And now they're pushing out other specific platforms that get into the thousands. This is per month, by the way, not per year. And then the CRM companies, 90, 150 a month. Salesforce starts you off at 25, and then they can go all the way up to $3,000 or more. Kajabi, amazing platform, 75 million customers, so they know what they're doing. They say their most popular plan, according to their website, is $159 a month. And then there's Alignable, which is a business-to-business kind of networking group, and they've amassed over 10 million people paying $29 to $89 a month. And then let's not forget the grandfather of social business, which is LinkedIn, right? You can be a free member. I've always been a free member forever. Feels like forever. And then if you want to upgrade, depending if you're looking for employees or you're a true entrepreneur, can go all the way to $149 a month. And then, of course, Calendly, if you need a business calendar, is somewhere between $10 and $16 a month. Whew, that's a mouthful. Okay, so again, you add that all up, you're looking at on the low end, 180 a month. On the high end, it's bigger than a mortgage payment. So again, $2,000 to 68 grand a year. Be Connected can pretty much replace everything on the left from the tech stack that we've created. So where do we sit, right? So again, the first thing to break this down, because you can pick and choose what you need and throw out what you don't need. So on the free plan of Be Connected, which is free forever, you get a free virtual conferencing platform that'll probably take care of 80% of people's needs. You get a full hour versus 40 minutes from a Zoom. Then you have access to our social media platform, our AI technology to find more customers or collaborations, and then groups, right? So that's all on the free. But then as you upgrade, if you need to upgrade to basic, pro, or platinum, it's adding the ability to have more attendees. Now, the time duration is unlimited here. And then the important thing to understand is that platinum, besides 1,000 attendees, any additional upgrade you might want to add is all included into the platinum. Now, here's part of where we're going to be going later in the training, is at the basic level, which I'm going to round to $20. This also becomes another revenue stream. So you get to make all your money, but now we have another revenue stream seamlessly. There's no accounts receivable. There's no accounts payable. You don't do customer service. You're not working extra hours. When you grow your own following, you get to monetize it. And it doesn't matter what your business is. Doesn't matter how many people are coming. And then we have additional bonuses that we added to the program. So again, if we look them side by side, we have the 180 to 5,600 a month on the Frankenstein effect. Now, of course, these are just examples. And then, of course, then you have the Be Connected, where it can start with an upgrade of just the calendar, which is 50% cheaper than Calendly, all the way up to everything included for $99.95 a month. However, about a week ago, we introduced a new platform that the doc was alluding to, because she's already understanding how much money she's already spending, and it keeps getting more expensive as time goes on. So we showed her a way that she would never have to pay again. In other words, pay once, never pay again. No matter what we add in the future, she won't be charged additional revenue. So if we, and we will, add other platforms, other technology coming, because you never know, right? Technology never sits still. She's in a position where she never has to pay again. Now, it's $19.99, but it comes with the $1,000 bonus. You gotta take out that cheesy sound effect. So what does that mean? It means if you're a lifetime member and you somehow stumble upon 2 other lifetime members, you not only never pay again, it's like you never paid, because you get all your money back. So what would it be worth if you never paid for another CRM, never paid for another virtual conferencing call, never had to pay for another webinar, never had to pay for a calendar, right? None of the things that these other companies are making you take money out of your wallet or your purse. You're covered. You're covered for a lifetime. And that is a very an amazing, generous offer from our CEO, because again, she's an entrepreneur wanting to help out entrepreneurs. Now, again, why do we do that? Well, you helped us grow, right? An individual adds 2 new customers. So that's our form of marketing, is we give up some of our profits. Now, remember, we're much more cost effective than all the other platforms. So we're really kind of giving up our profit as a company, but that's the generous nature, the mindset of our CEO. Very brilliant. So again, when it comes to that additional money, it's not just a bonus. So we covered in the beginning the 1 through 5, right? Selling your products, selling your courses. If you want to charge for a show or a membership of your own, you can do that on Be Connected. But we have our what we call 2-tiered affiliate platform. And now this is paid on a weekly basis. Now, you can see the spelling error. That's W-E-E-K-L-E-Y, not W-E-A-K-L-E. You know what I mean? It's my networking joke. So here's a kindergarten example, because it's really simple. So let's say someone's an affiliate, just like the doc, and she goes and finds another person who likes that lifetime membership. Then, what's going to be heading out, if they understand it or not, if they're an affiliate, we're going to send them $1,000 bonus. But it doesn't end there, because in that second affiliate, building out their business on Be Connected, they're doing shows, they got a group, they might be the CEO or president of a networking group, a chamber of commerce, a Rotary Club, whatever it is, there's a following being established. Now, in that following, if any of these people upgrade, there's additional residual commission that's being awarded to affiliate number 2. Now, not to cut the affiliate number 1 out by just giving them a bonus, we allow them also to make 100% match of whatever affiliate number 2 ends up. So let's look at one of our customers on board here, and they just started with us, and the CEO gets it. He's super excited. He has a company called Patriot Owned Businesses. Now, this is a networking group, and the network of POB is approximately 20,000 business owners. Most of them are military, former military like myself. And, you know, they believe in obviously everything patriotic in America, right? Red, white, and blue. And so with their 20,000, they can make between 50 cents and $10 per member as non-dues revenue, right? If they got a CRM, they got a virtual conferencing, they got a business calendar, that's going to be awarded each and every month of that residual income, but it's paid weekly. Now, what about the lifetime bonuses? Right now, remember, we're talking about 20,000 members, and we are now the POB's official communication platform on the internet, right? This is all their webinars, all their meetings, their group creation is all now Be Connected. So it's just taking a little time to reach out and let them know that we're there to support them, and that the CEO has chosen this as his communication platform. Just like if you put up a Facebook group, you got to tell everybody, hey, join my Facebook group. Here it's like, hey, I'm over on Be Connected. So let's say they got 10 people out of their 20,000. Well, that's an extra 10 grand right away that we're going to pay POB, what I like to say upfront. What if it's 100 of the 20,000? Well, now it's 100 grand to use our software. We're paying him. He's not paying us anymore. We're paying him, especially if he's a lifetime member. He doesn't pay ever again. What if it was 5% of the POB? What if it was 10% of the POB? So that, and I don't care where you're coming from, what kind of business you're in, that's a lot of money as a reward that doesn't exist anywhere on the planet. Now, remember, this is a two-tiered platform. So besides just making the residual on the 20,000, the second tier reaches down in the following that follows the 20,000 entrepreneurs. Now, there is no third tier, so it doesn't turn into an MLM. It's just 2 tiers. But I think you would agree with me that the potential there is worth a lot of money. The residual actually can easily exceed the one-time bonuses that we're paying, but the bonuses are something that, you know, it's cash money in the bank, makes you feel very secure, makes you very safe, and hopefully makes you very happy, right? Because that's cash flow. And he can use that cash flow for other marketing and do other things, because that's how entrepreneurs think. You got more money, you want to do more marketing, right? To increase sales. That's our bottom line, to help him grow his network. Now, his goal is to take his network to 1 million. He has a goal of becoming the biggest networking platform on the planet. Okay, so real quickly, on a part-time basis, not a full-time basis. Now, then again, this is just for the people who are really seeing the financial rewards. And let's say they went out 10 hours a week, and I'm going to do a training here to show you how to turn 10 hours a week and like get 1 lifetime member a week. That would put an extra 50 grand plus more residual in your pocket this year. Let's say as you get better at this, maybe you can turn 2 people a week. Now, again, it's a part-time business, just working, you know, a couple hours Monday through Friday, or maybe you put the 10 hours in on a weekend. And then 2 lifetime members a week would generate another 6 figures a year on top of whatever your current business is generating. So remember, the bonus is just going to get you started, but it can get you off to a very fast start because it's the residual income that's going to set you free. So when we wrap this up here today, there's really 3 kind of options. The first person just wants to play with it a little bit and wants to put their toe in the water, and you just want to start out for free. Now, remember, free has limitations. I always recommend people do a 14-day free trial, because then it's still free. You got 2 weeks to use all the products, all the services that Be Connected has to offer. It's like take it for a test drive, if you will. You got 14 days to take it for a test drive, and then decide what you want to keep, what you want to get rid of, or maybe you see the value, like the doc did, of the lifetime membership. So with that said, 3 steps now that keep this really simple into the main thing. The first one is become at least a member at the basic level. If you want to monetize your following, that means you start a business for $20, but you're getting virtual conferencing and all the things I talked about. Second thing is, we have now pre-packaged all your marketing material, so you don't even have to think about it. You can just send out a video, send out a text, send out an email, do a post online, and you're going to see results come your way. But then what do you do with that? Well, we always say, come to the next event. Well, the good news is the next event is going to be in a few minutes from now, right? So it's a training, and then we have another event coming up this upcoming Wednesday. Again, to give you, 72, 96 hours while you gather your flock, so to speak, and then we will do the training, the support, the presentations, the customer service for you, or I should say with you, right? Because it's kind of a collaboration for you and I together. So again, that kind of ends this particular overview. I'm very prideful to say that I pulled that off in about 30 minutes, the actual time that I had, which I think is a world record. And then before I get off here, if I can bring on the CEO, I guess I want to bring her on here, just because obviously it would not be a good day if I don't get to see our wonderful leader. Now, again, our CEO, Ms. Tanya Hoffman, being the former founder of the Public Speakers Association, numerous other businesses that she's bought and sold. She was the queen of networking in Texas. I think she joined like 52 networking groups before she decided to run her own program. I dragged her here from Texas about 3 years ago or so, kicking and screaming, and now you couldn't drag her out here. So without further ado, our wonderful CEO, Ms. Tanya Hoffman.
Hello, everyone. Yay.
Yay. So you had like a heck of a week.
Oh, I was nominated. There's my little picture right there, and was beaten by the president of the Aces, which is the women's basketball team. So fine.
So you need to be a little bit more elaborate. You were nominated for what?
For a leadership award from the Women's Chamber of Commerce for their Athena Awards ceremony. So, and the amazing Ms. Bree Darling came with me, and we just had a ball just getting to meet so many amazing new people. That just blows your mind every time you meet someone like that. You're like, oh my gosh, what do you do? And it continues to kind of grow, right? It's that all about connections.
Oh, wait, what? So you went to a Chamber of Commerce and you rub shoulders with 100 other women in the Chamber of Commerce?
Exactly.
And of course you were in the running for the Woman of the Year or whatever it is. So, okay. There's no shame that you came in number 2, because she is the president of the Aces, which is, Vegas's women's football basketball team.
And they won like 2 champions. All right, fine.
But just being in the running, being honored, that's obviously kudos to you. So congrats on that.
Yeah.
You're still the champion in my heart, by the way. Basketball, schmasketball.
Exactly.
By the way, so it's not like I don't like sports, but I only root for Buriram United. And people are like, what's that?
Exactly.
Go to Thailand, you'll find out. Okay, so we're about to let the people that don't want to be here, that we appreciate the time if you want to stick around for the training. Now, before I kind of get into the training, because obviously you and I have had several years to work side by side, sometimes like 15-hour days when we were first building Be Connected. People don't know, but they don't care.
Yeah.
Back when we were all locked down on COVID, I'm working 2 shifts, right? 15 hours a day.
Yeah, no one's played Valiant for us.
Now, obviously, you've networked with like 52 different groups. You ran the Public Speakers Association. I think that was for 7 years, besides retail businesses and other things you own. What did some of this, because you've used some of the training, what has it done for you?
I've always said if I had known JR back when, my business would have exploded, because the information is so solid and so simple. I'm like, why doesn't anybody cover all this information? And it really has changed my perspective and the ability to grow something massive. And so I've just been always so impressed with your knowledge base. But of course, that's why you are who you are.
Well, I'm old now. That's all you just said. I'm old. And none of my training came from me, by the way. So again, it was passed down from people that made it to #1 on the Inc. 500 list, people that built multi-billion-dollar companies. And we're going back 30 years.
Yeah.
When there was no technology. And so a lot of this stuff was like old school. And of course, the kids today will not understand there was a time where there were no cell phones.
Exactly.
There was no thing called Google. All right, so we want to get into this because I like to get this both sessions down what normally take me to do a presentation. So don't want to be chatty Cathy. Now, this is the grassroots version of the training. We're going to do more exclusive training next Saturday, more leadership training, but you got to cover the basics before you get to the important stuff. So there's a picture of the globe. I picked this because if you really understand how many people are communicating in any given moment of time, remember there's 5 billion people online as we speak, right? 5 billion people around the world. Now, some of them are sleeping and the ones that are awake, but there's about 5 billion people that are using the internet on an ongoing basis. Now, all you need is a phone. And of course, be connected on your phone. That's your tool. That's your office. There it is. And of course, when we first started Be Connected, we weren't really that mobile connected. Everything pretty much was done on laptops. But now, of course, we've woken up and smelled the coffee. So again, it doesn't matter if you're on a tablet, a cell phone, or a computer. It doesn't matter. You just need a phone and you can go out and do amazing things. And of course, the kids, I say the kids because I'm old now, I'm a baby boomer. They get it, right? They grow up with these devices. So again, I used to always say, if you have a technical problem, go find a 14-year-old. Now I can say, go find an 8-year-old. They'll teach you how to do it. So again, this is just a little bit. If you don't know us here at the home office in the headquarters, this is just a little bit of my resume. I feel weird reading it to you. But my first gig in life when I was 17 is I joined the armed forces. So I joined the USMC, which stands for Uncle Sam's Misguided Children. No, I'm just kidding. United States Marine Corps. I became a financial planner, learned a lot about money. Then, of course, I grew 40 offices in a 3-state region. Yes, I was a master agent for WorldCom with, at the end, 200 stores and 5,000 sales reps. Direct sales expert. That spanned 30 years. The first 25, I was in the field. I'm prideful to say I was #1 20 of the 25 years. The other 5 years, I was either a partner of a company or a CEO. Ran around the globe about 50 times. Love to see other cultures. And then, of course, helping kids is my favorite thing to do, right? So help. All I did was help. On the financial side, start 2 small orphanages in Thailand. Besides donating money, I donated my time, took them on vacations, right? Took them to the beach, took them to the zoo, just because they had no home. Some of the kids even didn't have a country because they were Hmong children, right? Prodigy from the spinoff from the Vietnam War, where they all had to flee, and a lot of them became Thailand refugees. We were helping the children of those people that fled. So that's just a little bit of the background. Why would I show that to you? Not to brag, I learned something in a seminar back in the early 90s from a very famous public speaker, and he used to say, don't take advice from people more messed up than you, which I thought was brilliant. So you want to make sure that you're in the right place, right time, and getting the right information. So here's a little philosophy, at least I like to live my life by. I like to say the simpler, the better. Life's complicated enough. The simpler, the better. And it's usually the simple things that go viral. Now, before I begin talking about a few things here because this definitely, for some of you, can absolutely turn your life around in a heartbeat. The Chinese have an saying that if your cup is already full, you can't learn anymore. You can only take in so much information. And so before we begin, is your cup already full? And if you believe it is, if there's nothing new you can learn, if there's no new idea that you're willing to accept, this isn't going to be for you. Now, my cup was full when I started my direct sales career 36 years ago. God, it hurts to say that out loud. But the guy teaching me became #1 on the Inc. 500 list. And he always used to say, how big's your stack? And I thought he thought I was eating pancakes because I didn't understand what he meant. And he was asking me, well, how well you doing? And I kind of puffed out my chest and rolled back my shoulders. And I said, I made 30 grand. He said, oh, last month? I said, no, the whole year. And at the time he was making $1 million a month. Now remember, we're going back to the 80s. And I thought, okay, maybe I need to listen. All right, so let's start this off. And again, remember, the principles I'm going to talk about don't change, right? Again, my own personal principle, the simpler, the better. So principles do not change over time. It doesn't matter how much technology comes into play. A principle like the 10 Commandments, the principle is don't kill people, don't sleep with somebody's wife, don't steal stuff. Those are just ironclad, universal, and pretty much written in stone, with no pun intended. The first principle is to pay attention. Now, it sounds easy, but this is the hardest thing for adults to do because they'll come to the table with preconceived notions, preconceived ideas. And a lot of people are really good at a certain task. But what you want to focus on here and be connected, if you're really wanting to get after it and you really want to build a big empire of people, is the thing we're going to be talking about. Everything we're going to be doing can be duplicated. And if it can't be duplicated, you shouldn't try to waste your time. You can get away with it temporarily, but you'll be the only one in it making money and the team will suffer. So pay attention because it's the little things that make a big difference. If you've ever watched the Olympics, people spend 4, 8, sometimes 12 years training, and the difference between first, third, and fourth place is like a millisecond. It's an inch, right? It's just a little bit, and that's a big pill to swallow that you come in fourth place and you lost by 0.01 second, and you don't even get on the podium. Second principle is your attitude, right? Are you excited? If you can't get excited because that's contagious. Passion is contagious. And when you have the right attitude, then the law of attraction is going to work in your favor. Third principle, before we get into this, is to have a do or die attitude. Don't quit. If you're going to quit, it should be on day one. So you'll save yourself a lot of time and anxiety, right? But if you've got that champion, I'm going to do this. This is mine. I got a tiger by the tail and I'm not letting go. Then that's what I say. Let's go. Now, again, these are just the bare minimum philosophies, and then we're going to get into the leadership side of this next week. But these are now action steps. So remember, principles are happening in your mind. Action steps are what you do. And again, action steps to live by. First thing you got to do is you got to get locked in. Second thing is you got to talk to people. And again, I'm going to explain each of these and break them down. The third one is just simply being a storyteller. So again, remember, facts tell, stories sell. If you've ever been in a home-based business, you've heard that before, but it is very, very true. So let's start at the top, getting locked in. First thing you want to become is a product of the product. You can fool a few people some of the time, but you're not going to build anything. You're not going to be a leader. You're not going to have a 5-figure month or a 6-figure month unless you're a product of the product. And once you become a product of the product, that means you've set up your profile, you've created a group, you've done a call. I don't care if it's with your grandma. You got to become a product of the product so it doesn't scare you, right? It's more how you feel emotionally. And then when you turn around and try to talk to somebody, if there's fear in your voice, they're going to sense it. And then the second thing is after you become a product of the product, let's get going, right? Let's get busy, and let's get busy fast, because this is the revolution. Yeah, the revolution has begun many, many years ago, right? There are 20-year-olds that have 10 million people that know their name. So again, you don't need a fraction of that to make a lot of money at Be Connected. So again, here's the tricky part, learning how to talk to people, right? First off, who do you think you're looking for? And this will throw a lot of you for a loop. Now, a lot of people are like, I want to go get an influencer. Oh, I'm going to go get the president of this chamber of commerce. And you're thinking about all these superstars. And what you're leaving out is the tens and tens of millions of average people that need help. You're neglecting the tens and tens of millions of new entrepreneurs that are about to jump into the marketplace. It's like school. When the kids graduate kindergarten, go into first grade, there's a new crop of kindergartners coming. So who are you looking for? And I got this wrong big time 36 years ago. And my mentor, who made it to #1 on the Inc. 500 list, his company went through 27,000% growth. That's why he was the fastest growing company in the US at the time. Now, again, I'm dating myself because I'm going back to the mid 90s. He said, you're looking for dissatisfied people, JR. And I'm like, what? He goes, I know a lot of rich people that are bored, that don't have a challenge. But 80 to 85% of the people are looking for ways to make more money, and they're dissatisfied with the work they're doing or the job they have. But it doesn't have to be some social media freak. It doesn't have to be a guy with a big corporation or a big networking group. Everybody out there, for the most part, is dissatisfied in some part. And this is a platform that if you have a phone and $20, you can start a business on Be Connected. And because now we have $1,000 bonus, there will be people that are going to go out and make 5-10 grand their first week, right? Just getting started. And then they're never going to look back. Second thing is, how are you going to talk to the people that you want to talk to? What is the conversation? And this is where it really goes south if you don't have the training, because you're going to come at them for the most part with facts and figures, and that's going to bore them to death because that's not what's going to be interesting to them. Plus, you're trying to do it by yourself. So here's the secret to duplication. Remember, everything I'm talking about here today, ladies and gentlemen, is about duplication. Yeah, can you sell somebody sometimes? Some of you can sell ice to Eskimos, but that doesn't mean you can build a sales force. That doesn't mean you can build a team of people. So I stunk at this 36 years ago because I had all these preconceived notions and I had all this wrong information in my head. And then, of course, as time went on, I could grow a sales team of 10,000. Then I could grow a sales team of 50,000 people. Then it was I can grow 100,000, 200,000 people. But again, everything from that point was all about duplication. So here you are. Just humor me. There you are. You're sitting there, you're full of passion, you're full of ideas, you're full of excitement, and you're going to reach out, and then there's the world to go talk to. Prospects are everywhere, right? You got 5 billion people online, right? There's 7-8 billion people on the planet. Pretty much everybody's got a phone anymore. People all want to make money. What are you going to say to that prospect? And again, what some people want to do is right out of the gate, pretend they're the expert. Again, you didn't program the software. You didn't start the company. You might be a day old, so you haven't made a nickel. All you have to focus on is the trust that you have with the prospect. So some people start the conversation prematurely and kind of go for the jugular, and you didn't even warm them up. Now, there's 2 circles. This is what salespeople are taught. Go out, hunt down the prospect like you're a realtor. Go find the person that wants to buy a home. Go take them on a tour, show them the bedroom, show them the kitchen, show them the lay of the land, and then ask for the order. It's not going to work here. Not for the masses. The question is, you got to team up. So you got to use videos. You got to use the virtual conferencing, but you don't want to do it alone. You want to bring in experts, and we have those experts for you. We do 2 meetings a week automatically, and then we have a chief content officer that if you have bigger clients, they'll give them professional private demos. And all you got to do is build the respect that a prospect is going to meet somebody who knows what they're doing and makes a lot of money, or is an officer or an executive of the company. When you put trust and respect together, now notice how many circles on the page? 3. How many people go out and use this? Very few. It doesn't take more time because videos never sleep. Videos can be passed on. This is how all social media grew. TikTok grew 1 billion people by people sharing videos with other people, and it went viral, right? They had 1 billion people in under 5 years. So this philosophy is invoking teamwork, and we will teach you all the ins and outs, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, if you will. So you want to reach out. Remember, we're in the talk to people phase. So again, you want to reach out. Obviously, our CEO just told you she was up for an award, but she went to a Women's Chamber of Commerce and she spent the morning. I remember calling up in the afternoon after she said, "Hey, I'm finished." And she sounded like chopped meat. I'm like, "Are you okay? Why are you so tired?" She goes, "Oh my goodness, there was 100 women there. I'm exhausted." Because she was interacting with over 100 female entrepreneurs. And everyone's like, "Oh, I remember you. Oh my goodness, can I get your business card?" And of course, she's smart enough to say, "Hey, can I get yours?" And so she was networking. Now, remember, when I started my career 36 years ago, there was no internet, there was no Google, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook. You had to network. The other thing is you could reach out on phone calls. And again, I remember when there were no cell phones. I created 200 stores, but I remember when we didn't have any, but you can make a phone call. And when you make a phone call, you can send a text. But the question is, when you text somebody, what should you say? And it shouldn't be show up and throw up. So this is an example. It's not hard written. It's an example to say, hey, and don't say name. You got to put a name in there, right? I've seen so many people send out a text that says, hey, parentheses, name, because they don't pay attention. And the person like, why did you send that to me? It should be, hey, Jimmy, hey, Mary. If it's your friend, you don't say Mr. Jones. If you're texting your friend, you might say, what's up? Hey, you got a second? Right? You want to brand it to your personality. Big business event going down on Wednesday. Now, be connected. You can say big tech company. You can just modify this to what you want. Is giving out a huge gift to replace all the tools out there. Now, remember, if you got your own story, I joined this company. I'm saving a fortune. You want to check this out. And you'll thank me later. We'll go out to lunch. Right? And remember, they don't have to dress up. They don't have to drive across town. They don't have to get on a plane. They just sit in front of their computer or they just sit in front of their phone. But it's a text. Then there are emails. Then there's this thing called social media where you could put stuff out there. Now, again, it might be you can remember, we're doing the fundamentals today. Sometimes you got to create other value before you get into the heart of the matter. Don't try to go out and hard close all the people you know. I used to say, because I come from Chicago, I'd say, don't pimp your friends. I'd say, hey, Bobby, man, I found something really incredible. Do you want me to let you in on it? Or do you want me to keep it to myself? See, that would be an opening conversation. Then he said, hey, what's up? And I said, oh, I found this incredible opportunity. I think it's tailor-made for you, but I don't know. It'd be up to you. I can get you on a platform and you can hear from the owners. You can hear from the people that created it. If you're not interested, it's okay, but I know you'll be happy to check it out. Here's the link. And then get out of the way and let nature take its course. Now, videos, these are great to prime the pump. So these should go out before that text inviting them to something, right? Sending them out a video that says, why be connected? Now, again, followers versus leaders, it has to be a different conversation. That's why one person's a follower, the other one's a leader. An influencer would be a leader. They don't want to hear about compensation. They want to hear about how can I monetize what I already have? Because I already have 7 million people, 10 million people. And that usually starts with a simple conversation, which you'd like to better monetize the following you have. And they're like, what do you got? Hey, check this video out, right? Demo video. So you don't always have to go and track down our content officer because he's really busy because there's a huge world out there. So now we've condensed the demo into a video, but you don't send the demo video before you send the why video. And then, of course, you don't send a how video before you've done the other videos. So there's an order to all this. But again, it's simple. They're listed the way it should be. A why video for a regular person, an influencer video for a superstar, a demo to follow up with. They say, this is really interesting. Can you tell me more? You should zip it and make sure the videos are doing the work. Because do you remember? Should I back up? Should I remember? If you remember the circles, videos, K to K, and expert, all that hard work should not be being done by you. You're working too hard. You got to learn to work smarter. Plus the prospects watching you, they're seeing what you're doing. If I were to turn this seminar over to some of you next week and say, okay, you got to talk for an hour straight, you'd be like, ugh. You don't need to work that hard because it's all set up for you. Now, again, telling stories. Facts tell, but stories tell. But here's the problem. What story are we talking about? Most people, until we had this $1,000 bonus, all you could do is tell the company story. And that gets you started, because that's what most of that conversation I just had is why be connected this, be connected that. You got to get to the point where you got your own story. And I've helped people go out and they've made $5,000, $10,000, like I said, 15,000 their first week, and said, hey, man, I found this opportunity. I made 15 grand last week, which, by the way, was my first week. Would you like to hear what I'm doing? See, that's your story. But don't sit there and get all caught up in your own success. The best story to tell is the people that you're working with, to say, hey, listen, I helped this guy make 67 grand last month. Would you like to see what this company's all about? I can plug you in. So you're not talking about yourself anymore. You're talking about your team. You're talking about your people. So again, one gets you started. The other one gives you credibility. And then when you get the credibility, you want to build other heroes, right, in your organization. Just like we want to help the POB go from 20,000 to 1 million reps. Because if you or not reps, but members. So remember, when he just puts 5% of his current membership plus his referrals and their lifetime members, we've paid him $1 million. He's going to be bragging about that, and I'm going to be bragging about him. See how that works? It's a win-win for everybody. So, okay, so the final part of today, and we covered a ton of information. A lot of it I know because retention 7 to 10%. But just hear me. This was the first story. Some of you have heard this before, but bear with me. It's a great recap. I want you to pretend that it's past spring and most of the years gone by, and we're all going to go to an apple orchard. Now, have any of you ever been to an apple orchard? Right? So there's a picture of one, right? It's beautiful. It's God's creation, right? And again, somebody, because the trees are all lined up, somebody planted some seeds probably 20 years ago, and the trees grew up, and now they're bearing fruit. Now, here's the deal. I want you to pretend you get to go into the apple orchard, and you're be given a basket, and you pay a small fee to get into the apple orchard, and they say you can pick as many apples as you want to fit into your basket, right? So you're going into the apple orchard. You can pick as many apples as you want. You can eat as many apples on the property as your heart desires. And you can take the rest of them down to a local market and sell them for profit. Okay, so here we go. We got our little basket. We start walking towards the trees. And we see all these amazing apples. We don't have to reach up. They're already right there. They're on the ground. Now, if you kind of pay attention, what is the condition of most of these apples? I only heard one whoosh. Probably rotten, right? Because they've been sitting there a while. You know, they didn't, you know, if they had a mind of their own, they didn't want to end up on the ground, but they do serve a purpose because they will then eventually deteriorate. The seeds will go into the ground, and then they can actually create future trees. But now you're going to wait another 10 or 20 years before that apple actually has a purpose. Is that an apple you want to put in your basket? Because you know what they say about one rotten apple, it'll spoil the whole bunch. Now, let's say you've decided now, do you want to step on one? Do you want to pick it up? Do you want to rub it on your clothes? Do you want to eat it? Probably not. I'm hoping. Now, there's another apple in the tree that's not ready yet. And it's not ready because it's green. Now, we're talking about red apples now. And so if you pick a green apple by accident, maybe you don't know any better, and you take a bite out of a green apple, what is the experience like? Is it pleasant? If you've ever bitten a green apple thinking it was a green apple, but it was a red apple and it wasn't ready, it's very bitter. It's very sour. Now, you've taken a chunk out of this apple. Do you want to put it in your basket? No, it's too late. You took a bite out of it. So even if time could turn it into a red apple, it has a chunk missing. You can't sell that apple. Plus, you've ruined the apple. So now what you're going to do is you're going to throw it on the ground, and then it'll eventually turn into a rotten apple. Now, how do you know a red apple from all the other apples? It's red. It'll tell you. Now, this is what you have to understand. You're going to go out there and mix it up with a lot of people. You are going to run into every single kind of apple on the screen. There will be rotten people trying to ruin your day. That's just life. What you have to do is learn to avoid or get out of the conversation or apologize, say, sorry, I bothered you. But there's going to come a day where someone's going to get in your face. Don't be a baby about it. That's just life. That's how it works. Now, my mentor said, well, there's only 10 rotten people in the world. They just run around really quick. But seriously, you're going to run into a green apple. Now, when you run into a green apple, they'll be like, oh, I don't know. I'm not quite ready yet. I got a promotion. Hey, I'm going on vacation. Do not, I repeat, do not push them, because that's like taking a bite out of them. The experience will be bad for both of you. You will sever the relationship and you can never go back. And then understand there's a red apple. Now, if you step back and look at the apple orchard, how many apples are there? There's more than you could put in your basket. There's more than you can eat on the playground, right? While you're there. There's more than you can handle. There's billions of people online. There's hundreds of millions of business owners. All you need is a handful of them. So you have to learn to sort the apples, not sell the apples, because no matter what you say to a rotten apple, it's not jumping back in the tree. There's no time you can spend, on a daily basis to turn the green apple red. You've got to let the natural occurrence happen. It's about timing. But some of you get disappointed because you hear the word no. Are you hearing no from a rotten apple? Are you hearing no from a green apple? Because the red apple doesn't say no. They're like, oh my God, you got a platform. I only have to pay once. The company gives me $1,000 bonuses for every referral. Where do I sign? What do I got to do? This is amazing. Just like the doc today, right? She already knew I'm paying all this money. I hire an assistant. They're telling me to simplify. They keep charging me more money. Thank God I found Be Connected. See, that's a red apple. They're like, I can invest in the company. See, and those are the people you want to surround yourself with. Now, I'm going to take you on one more story, right? So we're going to go from the woods to the ocean. Now, you're sitting on a dock, right? It's a bright, sunny day. Maybe you're in Bermuda. Who knows, right? I've been there. I've been to a lot of beaches in a lot of places around the world. And it's gorgeous, right? So you're sitting there and you got a new job. You're an oyster shucker, right? You're sitting there on the dock with your little shorts. You got your suntan lotion on, your sunscreen, whatever, sunblock, if you will. And you're going to get paid to find pearls and oysters. Now you get paid $50 a pearl. Now just humor me. Go with me here. Right? This is your new job. It's your part-time gig. You're on vacation. That this would be kind of cool. Simple, mindless job, right? So what is situated, what has happened, this setup, if you will, is there's scuba divers going down in the ocean and they're bringing up the oysters for you. Now, they bring up about 100 oysters in a bucket, and they're putting buckets and buckets of oysters in front of you. So here, it's your first day. You got your little pen knife. You're ready to go. Remember, every pearl you find in an oyster, you're going to make $50. And they say there's about 5 pearls in every bucket, right? So again, somebody brought you the oysters. All you got to do is open them up. And so you take, you're lining them all up on the dock there. Now remember, there's scuba divers that keep bringing up all these buckets of oysters. You open up the first oyster, and there's no pearl. I'm going to come back to you here so you can see this. You open it up and there's no pearl. You're like, oh. So what you do is you close, first you apologize to the oyster for opening it up. You apologize to it, you close it up, and then you put it next to your heart to keep it warm until it grows a pearl, right? Probably not. What do? You throw it away and reach into the bucket and grab another one. And so you're, again, like the apple orchard story, you're sorting through the apples, you're sorting through the oysters to find a pearl. Now here, it's not $50 a pearl, it's $1,000 a pearl. How many $1,000 pearls this week do you want? 2? I mean, you know, everyone's going to say the more the merrier, but what would light you up? Would an extra $2,000 this week, $5,000 this week, $10,000 this week light you up to get you really excited, get you really motivated? Remember, you got to pay attention, be excited, decide not to quit. There's a $1,000 bonus. We pay every week. This is a tech stack you can't find anywhere on the planet. You got to add it all up, but you got to follow the steps. You got to pay attention, follow the steps. So we've put all this stuff together. Now, again, you got to become a product of the product. Now, you only have to start for $20, but the sooner you learn to become a lifetime member, it's easier for you to talk to somebody else, become a lifetime member, and then it's $1,000 a throw, then understanding they're all going to build a network. Everyone's going to build a network. So remember, we can put 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. I'm looking forward to seeing somebody make, and I've never done $100,000 to a brand new person their first month. I've done almost 70, but I didn't have this platform. I didn't have this much value. Didn't have all this technology to be able to reach out. So this is an opportunity for you and I and all the executives here at Be Connected to team up. And you never know when you're going to find a POB, right? Because the residual in that is going to be worth more than the bonuses. And you only need one. You only need one account of that size to set you free financially. Now, remember, I'm not trying to take money out of your pocket from your own business. This is all something you can do on a part-time basis. And so we're going to do another meeting on Wednesday evening. Now, you've got Tuesday. I don't even know what day it is. You got the rest of today, you got Sunday, you got Monday, and you got Tuesday and half of Wednesday. Now, look, you're going to text, email, and post. Okay, that you could do this in like 30 minutes. 30 minutes a day, text, email, and post. And so you might put in a whole 3 hours between now and Wednesday, or you're going to come up with, I'm too busy. That's on you. This is a part-time thing. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is an opportunity for everyone to go out and shake off the cobwebs. I know, like David Roberts, he's been with us for 5 years. He's got his own network. He's got his own series. He's got everything else. He's here, but he's seen the whole evolution. And then we've got people like the doc that just signed up a little while ago, became the first lifetime member. That's the beginning of tens of thousands, soon to be hundreds of thousands of lifetime members. And then people ask me, hey, when will you say it's a limited time offer. You got some time. Because I talked to the CEO, we're thinking the first 10,000 lifetime members, then we've paid 10 million in commissions to the field. And then at that point, I don't think we need to keep bribing people with this, because it'll have a life of its own. And who knows what we're going to be like when we get there, because we have other stuff to introduce to the world. Don't think that far ahead. Stay in the moment. Every day you could make a small fortune because of the way Be Connected is designed. Instant cash flow, upfront big bonuses. What you need to do is learn to team up and quit being a solopreneur. Use the videos. Take example of the emails and the text that we've packaged for you, and then just go out and see what happens. Because the last time I remember, you don't have to pay for a text because it's in your phone plan. You don't have to pay for emails because that's always been free as long as I remember. And social media is free if you want to put up a post. So that's free stuff. So $20 to start a business. Now, let me just conclude with this. How many people in the world can afford $20? Pretty much everybody. There's a lot more money in Thailand than it is in America. But it's like, if you're in America, don't go to Starbucks 2 months, two times this month. $20 to start a business, you can get $1,000 bonuses. Now, is pride going to get in your way? Ego going to stop you from doing that? I don't know, because I don't sell. I sort. I find the red apples. I team up with them. if they're really sincere and they're excited, and this is offered to anybody listening here today, I will work with you. Now, 2 things I promise, because I don't promise a lot. My first promise is I'm not going to give you any money up front, so don't ask. Second thing is I won't quit on you. That was the same thing my last mentor, who, by the way, was the world record holder for paying the most money to people. Those were his 2 things. I'm just paying it forward, what I learned from people who were massively, not a little successful, massively successful in this industry. And then I would like to thank my CEO for dragging me back out of retirement, because I didn't think I'd have to talk this talk anymore.
Yay.
Okay, any final words here, boss?
Nope. Let me pin myself to stage here. Hello, everyone again. I just want to reiterate how amazing each one of these nuggets. You can implement every single one of those into your own business, okay? And then this will explode. And I am so excited. You know, JR and I talked about it when we first started Be Connected, how we want to create so many millionaires and a few billionaires. What was the, when Microsoft went public, they had like 12,000 millionaires or something like that?
Yeah, a lot of